ફોન એકવાર લગાવીને તમે તમારું ફોન
પેલું નથી કામ કરતું.
અરે મારું આ ચાલે છે કે નહીં જોવું પડશે મારે.
આ કામ નથી કરતું.
जी प्रभु।
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are going to invite Maharaj by chanting very loudly with full enthusiasm. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Vallabha Rama Vallabha Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha Jagannatha, Jai Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for coming. We'd like to invite each and every one of you. Welcome. Thank you very much. And we will. Let us all welcome Maharaj by chanting three loud Hari Bol, very, very loudly from the core of the heart. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! I would like Mr. Svayam Prabhu to introduce Maharaj. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. It's my great pleasure to introduce His Holiness Svayam Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj. I'm sure many of you have heard it, and countless people listen to him daily for their essential injection of spiritual wisdom. From the age of 15, His Holiness Keshava Swami developed a deep interest in spirituality. Growing up in the London suburbs, he was naturally drawn to simplicity, minimalism, and solitude. Qualities that led him to the devotees at ISKCON London and Berwick Melbourne, where he was first introduced to the Bhagavad Gita. The conventional markers of success, title, status, material success, never moved his heart. After graduating from the University College London, UCL, he made a life-changing decision to become a monk at just 21 years old. A journey he continued over 2 decades later. For over 25 years, he has dedicated himself to deep study and teaching of Vedic wisdom, authoring 10 books, some of them are over there, and designing over 50 courses that make spiritual wisdom accessible and transformational. His teachings empower individuals to enhance relationships, find purpose, overcome inner obstacles, and cultivate well-being on all levels. A thought leader, progressive innovator, and avid global traveler, he bridges ancient wisdom with modern-day challenges, speaking at some of the world's most influential platforms, including Apple, Google, Stanford University, and Cambridge University. His ability to connect with people from all ages, backgrounds, and cultures is truly unique, making timeless wisdom practical and relevant. In 2022, now the fastest growing online platform for learning the Bhagavad Gita in a powerful, exciting, and life-changing way. His work is more than just education. It's a movement of wisdom that breathes, inspiring people to tackle life's complexities with clarity and resilience. Please join me in giving a great Hari Bol to His Holiness Keshava Swami. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Hare Krishna. Oh my God, that was 20%. You can do louder than that. Hare Krishna. Now you're awake. Very good. Thank you so much. Really happy to be with you. It's been an amazing trip. I'm in Australia for the first time. In London, if you tell someone you're going to Australia, they have a heart attack. Australia? That's in a different planet, no? But it wasn't so bad. I was going from country to country, so I begun in the beginning of January. I was in London. One time Srila Prabhupada was in London and someone said, "Does Krishna speak Bhagavad Gita on the hellish planets?" Prabhupada said, "London is hell." So London, I grew up in the suburbs of London, so I've lived there most of my life. So I began this year in London, and then we went to Berlin. Srila Prabhupada once said that Berlin would be the spiritual capital of Europe. So we had many wonderful events there, and then from Berlin we went to Switzerland, to the mountains. We were at the World Economic Forum. And then from there we went to Hong Kong, and then we're here in Australia, so very happy to be with you. And today we're talking about seeing Krishna. Have you seen Krishna? Do you want to see Krishna? Yes. We want to see Krishna. So in the Gita, Krishna says, "Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pasyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha na pranashyati." Krishna says, "For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me." Some people, they can't see Krishna anywhere. Hiranyakashipu was one such person. But his son Prahlad was the complete opposite. Prahlad could see Krishna everywhere. And one day Hiranyakashipu said, "Vishnu, Vishnu, where is your Vishnu?" Is your Vishnu in the pillar? Yes? And then Shingadev. So it's all possible. We can see Krishna, but we have to qualify ourselves. So before we begin, let us just remember Krishna who's living in the spiritual world. This world is not our true home. See out here people are playing football. This is Australian rules, is it? Australian football. One time Prabhupada said, life is like a game of football. You think you're the player, but actually you're the football. So, we are just here in this world, being moved around. We're not in control of what happens to us, but we have the opportunity to meet Krishna. So let us remember Krishna in the spiritual world. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Daja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Daja Jana Ranjana Ramana Tira Vanachari Ramana Tira Ramana Tira Vanachari Ramana Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Daja Jana Yashodanandana Daja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Daja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Daja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So Hare Krishna everyone, so nice to be with you. Thank you so much for coming. Today we have about 45 minutes to 1 hour. So I'll speak for about 25 minutes on seeing God, and then I will see what questions all of you may have. Is that good? Will you ask some questions? Very good. In Australia, do you have Sherlock Holmes and Watson? You know Sherlock Holmes? Yeah. They are very British. Sherlock Holmes was a detective and Watson was his kind of sidekick. So once they went camping, they set up a tent and then they went to sleep next to each other. And then in the middle of the night, both of their eyes opened. So Sherlock Holmes looked at Watson and he said, "What do you see?" Watson said, "I see thousands of stars in the sky. This means that astrologically this is the configuration and this is the influence of the planets." Okay, do you see anything else? He says, "I'm looking at the sky and I'm seeing so many clouds, and meteorologically this means that tomorrow will be a very overcast day. Probably it will rain." Okay, do you see anything else? He says, "Chemically I'm seeing that in the atmosphere this element is there and that element is there. That means this kind of pollution is affecting things." Watson looked at Sherlock and he said, "What do you see?" Sherlock said, "I see that somebody has stolen our tent." People sometimes analyze the world left, right and center to so much detail, isn't it? Nowadays in the world you can get so many degrees. BSc, MSc, PhD, MAD. Once I told the devotee, "I want to get a PhD." He said, "PhD?" I said, "Yeah, PhD." He said, "PhD means permanent head damage." I said, "My God, that's a bit fanatic, no?" Then he laughed. He said, no, you can also get a PhD. So if you have a PhD, wonderful. I also have BSc. Well, BSc. UCL. But you can analyze so many things in the world, but sometimes people miss the most obvious point. People fail to ask the most obvious question. Why am I here? Where did this world come from? Is there a God? And if there is, how can I meet Him? How can I speak to Him? How can I see Him? Bhagavad Gita is very, very beautiful because it's not just a book which tells you to believe in God. Yes, you must believe in God. Okay, very good. But that's just the beginning. Bhagavad Gita is a book which empowers us to be able to see Krishna acting in our life. We can have a very real relationship with Krishna. This is very much possible. But the first thing is, if we want to see Krishna, we have to be very, very honest, open, straightforward, no more cheating. Everyone in the world, actually most of us, we are trying to cheat God. Once someone went to the top of the mountain because he thought, the top of the mountain, then I'll be closer to God. So God will hear me. So he went to the top of the mountain and then he called out to God. He said, God, are you there? And then a voice came down. Yes, my son, I am here. He said, God, for you, how long is millions of years? God, for me, millions of years is just like one moment. Wow. God, for you, how much is millions of dollars? For me, millions of dollars is just like 1 cent. So then he called out, God, can you give me 1 cent? Yes, just wait 1 moment. You can't. If you try to cheat Krishna, if you try to cheat God, God is 1 step ahead. Everyone is looking for some shortcut. I want to see God, not shortcut. Jaldi. No? There's a process. You can't shortcut the process, isn't it? Like once one man, he went past the shop and it said, buy anything you like and your grandson will pay the bill. But this is like, my God, Diwali. He went inside. He started loading up the whole trolley. Grandson will pay, no problem. Then he got to the checkout counter, a bill came. He said, oh, grandson will pay. He started walking through. The person said, hey, stop. Bill. He said, what do you mean? My grandson will pay the bill. He said, grandson will pay that bill. This is the bill of your grandfather. So whichever way you go, this way or that way, if you try to shortcut the process, it won't work. Krishna is saying, I can be seen. I can be perceived. I am here for you to have a very real relationship with me. But you have to be sincere. You have to be honest. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that if you feel you can't see him, then in the 12th chapter, Krishna says there's a way to see me. And the way to see me is through something called sadhana. Have you heard this word? Sadhana iti sadhana. Sadhana is a Sanskrit word which means spiritual practice. But etymologically, sadhana means your eternal wealth. Sadhana is actually the most valuable thing that you have in your life, because it's the only thing of value that you have in your life that will never leave you. Every other type of wealth that you have in your life will leave you. Money will leave you. Where there's a will, there's a relative. Someone is coming to take it. Your wealth will leave you, trust me. In Vedic teachings it said that there are 4 types of son. So one type of son is known as Rini Putra. You understand? Rini Putra. This means in your last life, if you cheated someone, then in the next life they come back as your son. And what they do is smiling, laughing, joking, Papa, Papa, Papa. They take everything away from you. Someone is going to take all your money. Either it will be your son or daughter, or it will be the taxman, or something will happen. Wealth is so transitory. Here today, gone tomorrow. That type of dhana leaves you. And even if you keep it till the end, isn't it? In Gujarati we say, kanjus. Isn't it? Some people are very kanjus. They don't spend 1 penny on anything. Miser. Niti Shastra said there's no charitable person like a miser, because he gives away all of his wealth without even touching it at the time of death. Isn't it? So dhana is going. This is not dhana, wealth. Some people think dhana is health. My health, that's my wealth. Very good. Definitely health is wealth. But health will also go. Some people think dhana is reputation. Good reputation. That wealth will also go. Some people think dhana is time, freedom in my life. One person once said to me, I only need 3 things in my life to be happy. Time, money and health. I said, when you're young, you have time and you have health, but you ain't got no money. When you're middle-aged, you got money, you got health. Time there? No time? Too busy. And when you're old, so much time, so much wealth in the overseas Swiss bank account, but not good health. Something is always missing. Dear friends, we have to become very reflective. Why does God arrange the world in such a way that something is always missing? Why? Maybe He wants us to start looking in a different place for dhan. So none of these things are done. Not your wealth, not your reputation, not even your knowledge. Knowledge is good, but ultimately that's not even going to make you happy. What's going to make you happy is love, prema, because that's what you can take with you. Therefore, sadhana means the process by which you can develop your love for Krishna. And that becomes your eternal wealth. Why? Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa shadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shyama sundaram achintya gunasvarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. We go in front of Krishna, but can we really see Krishna? Only if you have eyes, premanjana, which are covered with the salve of love. Only if you have eyes of love, then you can see Krishna right before you. And so sadhana is the process and the means by which we can see Krishna. So all of you in the room are doing some sadhana, isn't it? Some of you're chanting, right? Reading, donating. Can also donate, that's nice. So this sadhana, the more we go deeper and deeper, the more we do it in a prayerful way, then you will actually begin to perceive and see Krishna in your life. But it must be done from the heart, in a prayerful way. Recently I was traveling and I was at Heathrow Airport. So I was early for my flight. So I decided to do something I've never done before. So you know what I did? I went to the Heathrow Airport prayer room. I thought, let me go to the multi-faith prayer room. Chant some rounds. So I went to the prayer room, and the prayer room was divided in three. The first one was a Christian section, the Bible, cross. Unfortunately, nobody was there. I went to the second part of the prayer room, and it was the Muslim section. So there was one Muslim family there, and they were doing namaz. So then I went to the third section of the prayer room, that was all other religions. So then I thought, okay, let me sit here and chant Hare Krishna. So I sat down in the multi-faith prayer room with the Muslims doing the namaz next to me, and I sat down and I started chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna. So I closed my eyes, I was trying to meditate. Of course, we have to be absorbed when we're chanting, so I was, And then I heard some steps coming into the room. So attentive chanting. I was thinking, who is that? But I'm like, I'm not going to open my eyes. Attentive chanting. Hare Krishna, who is that? Then the steps came closer and closer and closer. I still kept my eyes closed. Finally, the steps were right in front of me. And I opened my eyes. And two policemen were standing there with machine guns. Like this. They looked at me and you know what they said? Are you praying? I looked at them and said, I don't know, but I'm definitely praying now, Then he was serious with the machine gun. He said, are you praying? I was like, yeah, look at me, I'm not saying I'm a Mahabhagavat, pure devotee, but look at me, I'm a monk, I'm across, I got my hands in my beads, of course I'm praying. And then they looked at me and they said, this room is for praying. And then they just walked off. I was like, maybe these are the messengers of Yamaraj or something. But I realized, was I really praying? it's not just a matter of doing these activities half-hearted. One has to do them dil se, with love, from the heart. And then what one will find is that Krishna becomes much more available, much more reciprocal, much more active and alive in one's life. So in our scriptures it's mentioned that there are many activities of sadhana. Nama kirtan bhagavata shravan Vaishna sadhu sangha Mathura va Shri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevana Sakala sadhana shreshta e pancha anga Krishna prema janmaya e pancheral pasanga. There are many types of sadhana, sakala sadhana, but of all the types of sadhana, e pancha anga, these 5 practices, sarva shreshta, they are the most important. Why? Krishna prema janmaya e, love for Krishna will arise. Panchera alpasanga, even by some contact with these 5 processes. So the 5 activities which we need to make part of our daily life in order to see God in our life. The very first one is Nam Kirtan. The holy name of Krishna. Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nityamuktam Bhinatvan Nama Namino. Krishna's name is like a touchstone. And when one chants Krishna's names with love, then what happens is Krishna becomes immediately attracted. Krishna means the all attractive, but Krishna means also the all attracted. And he becomes immediately attracted. And therefore all of us take a vow to chant. One devotee once came to Srila Prabhupada and he said, Srila Prabhupada, do I have to chant my rounds in the spiritual world? Prabhupada said, don't worry, with an attitude like that, you're never going to get there anyway. So if you think your rounds are a drag, if you think your rounds are a burden, if when you put your hand in your bead bag, you're just counting down to when it finishes, it's nice, but you're not going to see Krishna. One has to chant with love. One has to chant with desperation. O Krishna, O Ram, O all attractive one, O reservoir of pleasure, O energy of the Lord, please engage me in your service. I really want to see you. I really want to be with you. I really want to awaken my love for you. Simple as that. One has to chant with some feeling. Bhagavata Shravan means to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada says that for one who learns the art of how to read Srimad Bhagavatam, they can see Krishna in every single page. For them, Bhagavatam becomes like a movie of Krishna's pastimes. And they begin to perceive. They live in that world of Bhagavatam. Right now what we are doing is we're going into the book, we're getting some knowledge, and then we're closing the book and coming out of the book back into this world. But when one becomes very, very advanced, they can open the Bhagavatam, go in and stay there. The Bhagavatam is a real world, it's a living world, it's a spiritual world. And when we learn how to connect with Harikatha, the narrations of Krishna, then one can actually feel the presence of Krishna, interact with Krishna while reading Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very much possible. Sadhu Sangha means the Vaishnavas. See? The Vaishnavas are very, very powerful. Once there was a conference of sages and they were asking each other, who is the greatest? So one sage said the sky is the greatest because it covers everything. Another sage said, no, the clouds are greater because they can cover the sky. Another sage said, no, the wind is greater because the wind can move the clouds. Another sage said, no, the mountain is greater because the mountain can stop the wind. Another sage said, no, the earth is greater because the earth is holding the mountain. And another sage said, no, God is greater because God is holding the earth. At that moment, God appeared and God said, no, my devotee is the greatest because my devotee has imprisoned me within their heart. Sadhavo hridayam mayam sadhunam hridayam tvaham madanyetena jananti naham tebhyo manakapi. Krishna says, I am imprisoned within the hearts of the sadhus, and they are imprisoned within my heart. I don't know anything but them, and they don't know anything but me. If you want to find Krishna, if you want to see Krishna, if you want to be close to Krishna, then run after a saintly person, a sadhu. And a sadhu is not just someone who's dressed in saffron and who carries an extremely large stick that I get stopped for at the airport security every time. No, a sadhu can come in any form. It's anyone who's given their heart to Krishna. They have the power to give Krishna to you. Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakati ache. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Krishna se tomar, Krishna is yours. You've caught Krishna. And therefore, Krishna dite paro, you can give Krishna to me. Therefore, if one takes seriously, let me spend time with the saintly people. Let me make sure I'm constantly associating with the devotees. Then, through that connection with devotees, you will be able to see Krishna. Mathuravas, number 4. To live in the holy place. This is another very, very important part of sadhana. That when we go to a sacred space like Vrindavan or like Mayapur, then Krishna is said that He is constantly there. Vrindavanam parityaja padamekam nagacchati. Krishna never takes one step outside of Vrindavan. And so even if you go to Vrindavan today, Mathura, Krishna is still there. Because Krishna eternally resides in the holy places. And any place where Krishna becomes the center also becomes Vrindavan. So therefore when we go to the temple or when we go to someone's home where they've made Krishna the center, then that place is like Vrindavan. And so if one wants to see Krishna, then one must spend time in these holy places. And finally, Murti Seva, number 5. All of you have homes, and all of you have the opportunity to invite Krishna to your home in the form of a deity. And Krishna is eager to receive service from you. Krishna comes in the form of the Murti to be completely dependent upon his devotees. And so, one can establish a very, very intimate, a very, very close, a very, very deep relationship with Krishna in the form of the Vigraha. Because in this form, Krishna is making himself completely dependent upon you. Krishna is placing himself entirely in your hands. And therefore, if you worship the deities with attention, with love, with a spirit of genuine affection and personal interest, then your deities will speak to you. In Vrindavan, there are so many accounts of the devotees who are talking to their deities. And so, it's very much possible. Sakala sadhana shreshta e pancha anga. Krishna prema janmaya e pancheral pasanga. These 5 processes. Number 1, chant the holy name of Krishna. Number 2, read Bhagavatam. Number 3, serve and connect with the Vaishnavas. Number 4, spend time in Sri Vrindavan Dham. And number 5, worship the deity with great faith and love. If we do these things, if these things become part of our daily life, then what you will find is that Krishna no longer remains a concept, an idea. Krishna becomes a living reality. Krishna becomes active, alive, attentive, and affectionately involved in every single aspect of your life. And that's real Krishna consciousness. We are here not just to follow a religion. We are here not just to get some piety and some material benefit. We are here and we've been given the opportunity to see Krishna face to face. But you can't shortcut it. You can't cheat Krishna. You can't do it half-heartedly and expect the best result. If we do it with love, with patience, with faith, with consistency, and with genuine depth, anything is possible. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, let me stop here. So here I'm sharing some ideas with you. We have about 15 minutes left. Perhaps you have some questions you may want to ask about seeing God, perceiving Krishna in your life. Perhaps you have some questions on some of these processes that I've mentioned. So I'm happy to try to have some exchange and discussion if some of you have a question. So, would anyone like to ask a question?
Maharaj, you said that we should open the Bhagavatam and read it and then go within. And we have a dedicated time that okay, we read a few pages a day, or a certain time of the day we read 30 minutes and 10 minutes. So when we do that in a regulated way, how do we go into the Bhagavatam and stay there? Because eventually we have to close the book and get back to our daily routines.
Thank you so much. Yes. Reality calls, duties are knocking, so many demands are there waiting for us even when we're doing our sadhana. Rupa Goswami, he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he became so enamored that he wanted to give up everything and leave. Mahaprabhu sent him a letter, and in that letter he just wrote one verse, which was a cryptic verse. Padavya sinini nari vyagrapi griha karmashu Tadeva svadayatyantar navasangarasayanam. Rupa Goswami wrote a letter to Mahaprabhu, I want to leave, I want to leave, I want to give it all up. Mahaprabhu replied with this one verse. Translated, it says, when a woman who's just been married has another lover who she's given her heart to, then what she does is she goes on with her duties even more attentively, but all the while she is thinking of her lover. We're not promoting this, by the way. Just, it's a metaphor. This is very, very instructive. If you read the Bhagavatam with quality for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, but if you read it with depth, then you won't close the Bhagavatam and leave the Bhagavatam behind. But what you'll do is you'll carry Krishna with you wherever you go. Sometimes people say, but how can I remember Krishna at work? But what about when you were in love with someone in this world? What about when you had a worry or an anxiety on your mind? Did you have to force yourself to think about that? Did you have to make a concerted effort that now I will think of my worry? It's constantly pervading your consciousness. So what about when you have love? What about when you actually connect with Krishna? What about when you open the Bhagavatam and you realize this is not just a story, this is the real world, and I exist in this world. When we read the Bhagavatam, we're not just reading about a world out there that we can observe. We're reading about a world that we are part of. Jivera svarapahoy, Krishnera nityadas, Krishnera tatastha shakti veda veda prakash. The soul is tatastha, which means it's marginal, and it can go this way or that way. And when it goes this way, you end up in Melbourne, Australia. But quite easily, you're tatastha. You can decide, now I'm going to go this way. And then you'll end up Goloka Vrindavan. So, the point is that yes, you may not be able to sit at home all day and read the Bhagavatam. But if you learn the art of how to absorb yourself in that world, then that world will become your fascination. That world will become your meditation. The Bhagavatam will become like a love letter from your lover that you really want to read when you get home. Isn't it? There are some messages on your WhatsApp, when you see the name, you're very eager to read the message. And there are others who you'd prefer to block. But when you make that connection with the Bhagavatam, then it becomes your fascination, your meditation. That's where we want to get to. So yes. We have one devotee in London, he works for Accenture, investment bank, risk management. So I asked him one day, what did you do on Sunday? He said, at 10 o'clock I started reading Bhagavatam. I said, oh, that's nice. And then what did you do? He said, then I carried on. And I said, and then? He said, yeah, I just carried on. I said, what time did you finish? He said, 9 p.m. at night. I said, wow, you have taste. He said, it's the real world. This is not the real world, see? We think this is the real world. This is not the real world. Welcome to the Matrix. No. The Bhagavatam is the window to the spiritual world. So, this is what we're trying to do. Anyone else? Okay, as you like.
Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, how can we, deepen our personal relationship with Krishna? understanding, seeing His reciprocation. How can we see? Sometimes we can't see His reciprocation. So how can we understand Krishna is reciprocating? How do we see His reciprocation?
Krishna is active in every moment of our life. Once there was a man, he was going to an interview and he was getting late and he couldn't find a car parking spot. So he started praying to God, I need to find a car parking space, I need to find a parking space. So he was so much in anxiety, God help me, help me. Finally he turned the corner and he found a car parking space and he looked up and he said, God, don't worry, I found one. Krishna is acting in every moment of our life, but we think it's all happening by our potency. Krishna is more clever than any living entity, and therefore we won't always be able to understand Krishna's arrangements. But by reading Shastra, by speaking with the Vaishnavas, and by deeply praying to Krishna, and then simply by being patient and avoiding judging in the moment, eventually all of Krishna's plans will beautifully be revealed to us. Once there was a small girl and she was watching her grandmother do knitting. Nowadays nobody does knitting, no? She was knitting. So the little girl was looking, and after 3 hours of knitting, she was seeing it from underneath, and she said, what have you been doing for 3 hours? It's a complete mess. And then the grandmother picked the little girl up, and then she saw the knitting from the top. So, oh, a wonderful pattern. That's what you were working on all this time. So we don't know. And we try to second guess Krishna. We try to work it out in our own small mind why everything is transpiring in the way it's happening. So, it requires closeness to scripture, closeness to devotees, it requires prayer, and then it requires patience. And when all of those ingredients are together, then one will joyfully continue on in their life, even when they don't understand Krishna's reciprocation. And eventually, at every moment, the past will begin to unfold, and it comes to the point where someone has so much faith in Krishna, because they've seen time and time again, Krishna always has it better. And then, no more doubts. Rakshishyati divishvasho Goptritve varanam tatha atmanikshe pakarpanye sadvida sharanagati. That's what we have to train ourselves. Yes?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Yes. It's
Hare Krishna.
Honor to meet you and be in your presence. My question actually is like twofold, because we appreciate Krishna's energies are also illusionary energies. And then we also, I hope I'm not repeating from it, that your activities that you've done in previous lives that will to this path, right? So it's a level.
It's a little hard to hear. Maybe without the mic, you just project.
Oh, okay. I'll come a bit closer. So my question.
You can speak, I'll repeat in the mic.
Okay, so my question is, like we like to believe that whatever you sort of had your previous lives and then you carry that forward, like spiritual activities and so forth, that's progression. Is there opportunities for regression? That's my first question. And
Okay, let's go with that one first.
and then secondly, oh yeah, sure. All right.
Is that right? So we carry activities from previous lives, spiritual activities, so that in this life you're carrying on from the same point. So do you ever go back? Isn't it when we were kids we used to have snakes and ladders? I don't know if you ever played that game here. But you know, sometimes you get to, you know, counter number 99 and then boom, go all the way down again. So can you go down in spiritual life? Krishna says, Neha bhikramanasosti pratyavayo na vidyate svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Krishna says a little endeavor on this path is never wasted. There's no loss or diminution. In other words, Krishna says that whatever you do in your spiritual progression is eternally in your bank account. However, for anyone in finance, you know that sometimes your bank account gets frozen. Now, sometimes if we do certain activities, what might happen is our bank account of spiritual credit might get frozen. What that means is not that you've lost it, but right now you're not able to access it or feel the effects of it. So it may feel like you've regressed. But by spiritual activity, it can be unfrozen and triggered again. And therefore, spiritual life is so beautiful because whatever you do, you continue building more and more and more. But materially, whatever you do, at one point it all escapes us and it all leaves, no matter what you put in place. Therefore, if we're wise, at the end of the day, the question we will ask ourselves is, what did I do today to invest in my eternal assets? That's the question that a wise person will ask. Because you can't take it, anything else with you. Is that okay?
Yep. The second part of my question is, so like with the illusion energies we have today, Kali Yuga, and respect of Kali Yuga, how is it becoming, what, like in your opinion, is it becoming so difficult, like especially with parents and kids of today and the influences that they have? What would be your advice to parents for kids to help them along the pathway? Because there's so much of distraction for kids nowadays. How do you get them a bit more focused? And,
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your nice questions. Appreciate it. So the question here is, what do parents do for kids who are perpetually distracted? Kids of the digital age. They grow up with a milk bottle and an iPad. Side by side. What do we do for the distracted kids of this age? Maybe someone can shut that door. Is it possible? Well, Prabhuji, I have never been a parent in my life. That's the disclaimer first that I have to give. So my knowledge is simply theoretical. But I have spoken to many parents. First thing is, no parent can teach their child anything that they don't do themselves. In our temple in the manor, the parents usually come on a Sunday morning and drop off their kids. Now you learn Bhagavad Gita. And after dropping the kids, they go to the golf course, the cinema, the shopping center, and then come back in the evening to pick them up. Did you learn Bhagavad Gita? Kids will not simply respond to what you say, but kids will respond to your own lifestyle, your own habits, your own example. Sometimes they say, Dad, I can't hear what you're saying because your character is speaking so loud. So what are we doing in our own life to show spiritual strength? What are we doing to show that we are beyond that? When they see that example, that's the most inspiring and instructive thing. So the first thing is that we have to be a good example. Don't think that you can teach your children anything that you have not embodied yourself. That will be very difficult. Second thing is that in all of our lives we have to somehow create some boundaries. There's no way that children of this age are going to be able to live in this world without technology. We are living with it. That's it. I just came from the World Economic Forum, and the whole talk of the conference is AI. Everything is AI. I said to one person, I want to write more books. He looked at me and said, write books? In the future, you will speak your books to people. I said, what do you mean? He said, just give me 50 of your lectures and I'll clone your voice. I'll make an avatar of your face. And then they'll put on a VR set and they won't need to read your book. You'll teach it to them. And if they want to ask you any questions live, they can ask you any questions. He said, Swamiji, you just relax in London. Your avatar will cover the world. I was like, my God, this is Hare Krishna. I said, I think I'll be all right, you know. So we are living with this technology. But what we need to do is we need to create some boundaries. What we tell people is for the first 4 hours of the day, no device. No device. For the last 2 hours of the day, here we have our Dr. Saab, Rishi. He told us 2 hours before you sleep, no screen time. Otherwise you may fall asleep, but you won't get into the 4th level of sleeping, is it? 4th level, deep sleep. Ruin your health. So create some boundaries. And then we have to try to give kids spiritual principles to help them understand there's a better way. Instead of being influenced by the world, why not become an influencer of the world? And we have to teach them that there's a great adventure to go on in their life. And that following Krishna consciousness, following the Bhagavad Gita isn't just about a boring life of rules and regulations. But if you guys do this, then you'll become the best version of yourself and you'll have the most exciting and impactful life you can have. Let's go. Let's do something amazing with our time here. So we need to stop teaching religion as just a set of rules and regulations. No. This, Krishna consciousness, is the greatest adventure that you can go on. And therefore, when we share it in that way, it becomes much more appealing. Some thoughts from someone who's never had kids. Thank you very much. I don't know how shall we continue on? Because time?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, that was like the Akashvani. Thank you. Dhanyavad. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
This is something personal, right? What you see me and gathering of these people into your thoughts? That is my question.
I didn't catch it. Sir, what was the question?
Can I come?
Yeah, come, please. We are all friends here.
What you see in me and gathering of these people into your thoughts?
Oh, what do I see when I see all of you? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kashkid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kashkin mam veti tatvata. Krishna says, out of many, many millions of people, maybe a few will inquire about spiritual knowledge. And of the thousands that inquire about spiritual knowledge, maybe a few will take it seriously to try to understand it. Krishna says, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Such a soul is very rare. So, all of you in this room are very rare souls. I'm not just flattering you. All of you are very rare souls because you are actually trying to understand this in reality. Many people, they are simply practicing religion out of convention, out of some cultural tradition, but they don't really understand what they're doing. All of you who have taken the time and patience to sit here and listen, who are actually trying to understand what is this and how can I do this in the deepest way, you're actually very, very rare souls. Prabhu, if you go into outer space and you shine a candle, did you know that you can see that candle for 12 miles? Because the darkness of space is so much, even a candle can be seen 12 miles away. Every devotee, every bhakta is like a candle in Kali Yuga. This world is so dark. This world is moving in the wrong direction. The 3 biggest problems in American schools 50 years ago, you want to know? Chewing gum under the table, talking in class, cheating in the exam. The 3 biggest problems in American schools now: physical assault of the teacher, teenage pregnancy, gun crime. The world needs spiritual people. The world needs you, because you are taking it seriously. And therefore, when I see all of you, my heart jumps with joy. Alrighty, you've got a saffron dhoti on. Very good. This gives me even more joy.
Maharaj, you try to, so many people they try to see God and they try to talk about the chant counts, just to talk to God and see Him. But then when people who want to know how to do chanting, what's the benefits of chanting, and you start chanting, and start reading Bhagavatam, what's the difference in these 2 things? You try to fight, you try to see God and talk to God, and then in that mentality, you read Bhagavatam and chant counts. But then in the another mentality, you think that you want to know more, you want to know that about Krishna.
All right, okay, got it. Hey, pull up a chair. We can give a class here together. Thank you so much for being brave and asking your question. In the beginning, we begin chanting. We're trying to see God. We may have that enthusiasm. And then later on, that enthusiasm goes down, is it? That's what you mean? Yeah, like that. Knowing God and seeing God. Yeah. Some people know so much, but until you apply in your life, you will not be able to see. Therefore, knowing plus living equals seeing. One time someone came to Srila Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, I can recite the Bhagavad Gita in 46 minutes. Prabhupada said, very good, can you live it for 46 minutes? It's not about memorizing information. It's not about knowing so many things. It's not about being Pandit 1,000,008. It's about being a sincere person who actually tries to connect with Krishna in a personal way and take Krishna's advice seriously. So many things we learn. Very good class, Swamiji, very good class. Thank you. And what will we do about it? How will our life change? In what way are we actually going to apply this knowledge? That is the real question. And so, we begin, we learn, but then we have to live. And if we do that, then we will see. Alright, thank you so much.
Given the fact we live in like material world and with family, we have to do our day-to-day duties, jobs, in order to live in this material world. So I always struggle that does the Gita, Bhagavad Gita, tell us how to balance our this day-to-day life and this spirituality, and does it also tell us like what can be done so that we can travel this trajectory, we can transition from this to the spiritual?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
The question you have asked is exactly the question that Arjuna asks in the Bhagavad Gita. Congratulations, you have identified your inner Arjuna. Once a man came to Socrates. You know Socrates? Greek philosopher. And he said, Socrates, oh wise one, I don't know whether I should get married or not. He looked at the person and he said, definitely you should get married. He said, why? He said, because if you have a very nice marriage, then you'll be very happy. And if your marriage is a little bit rocky, don't worry, you'll become a philosopher like me. In other words, we should live in the world. We should do our duty. Krishna says to Arjuna, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamano smarayudhyacha mayarpita mano buddhir mamevaisya samsayaha. He says, therefore at all times, ma manusmara, remember me, yudhyacha, and at the same time fight. Mayarpita, with your mind focused on me, ma mevaisya samsayaha, eventually you will come back to me. So the Gita tells us, don't try to enjoy the world. The Gita also tells us, don't try and escape the world. Instead, the Gita tells us, engage with the world. Do your dharma, do your duty. Remember the ultimate reason why you're here, your Sanatan dharma. And by bringing your daily dharma, or your swadharma, and your Sanatan dharma, your spiritual duty, by bringing them together, then what happens is you live in this world, you achieve all the success, if it's destined for you, and at the same time you achieve spiritual perfection. So sometimes people, they are scared when you become spiritual, because they think you'll become the next sadhu. If you become spiritual, you'll lose your ambition. If you become spiritual, you won't do any of your duties anymore. If you become spiritual, you will lose interest. But actually, spiritual people are the most ambitious. They don't turn away from the world. Unless, of course, you take Sangha. That's a different one. Generally, you don't turn away from the world. You live in the world, but you live in the world for a higher purpose. Does it make sense? All right.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay.
Is the path of bhakti spirituality simple or difficult? Because when we hear it from Maharaj like you or anyone else, we find it very simple. But when I personally try to follow it, I find it difficult. So how do we make it? How do we turn this from difficult to simple?
Hare Krishna. So is the path of bhakti simple or difficult? Bhakti is simple but not easy. It's simple. Could it be any more simple? One mantra, 3 words. Of course, even sometimes people get that wrong. I was at Istanbul airport and someone said to me, "Oh, I like you guys, I know the mantra, Hare Krishna, Dalai Lama, Hare Krishna, Dalai Lama." I said, no, Dalai Lama, that's different. Hare Rama, no, Dalai Lama, I know. Generally, the mantra is quite easy. No, it's so simple. Prabhupada said, I'm telling them chant, chant, chant. And they're saying can't. It's so simple. I mean, Krishna couldn't have made it easier. Nam akari bahudani jasarva shaktis tatra pitani amita smarane nakala etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdeva midrisham ihajani na anuraga. Krishna says, I make it so easy for people to approach me through my holy name. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting the names. But we are so unfortunate that we have no attraction. So it's simple, but it's not easy. Because you know what? Spiritual life, what makes it difficult is the everyday principle. Everyone can do something for one day. Many people can do something for some days in the year. But what are you doing every single day in your relationship with Krishna? If we are steady, if we're consistent, if we're patient, and if we remain in the association of devotees and we incorporate these panchara sadhana that I just mentioned today, why not? You can do it. Prabhupada said, you've given so many lives to Maya. So many lives to Maya. And where did it bring us? Now, give one life to Krishna and see what happens. So we can give a life to Krishna. It's a short life, here today, gone tomorrow. I'm 43, the youth of old age. Time is ticking. It feels like yesterday I became a monk, nearly 25 years ago. 25 years from now, will I still be here? I don't know. According to the World Health Organization statistics, my chances are not good. There's a website on the internet you can go to, www.deathclock.com. And what you do is you put in your height, your weight, your BMI, body mass index, smoker, non-smoker, you will die on. It tells you. So I picked up that day. I put it in my diary. Here today, gone tomorrow. So it's good to meditate on death. Life is like a game of chess. Whether you're the king, the queen, or the pawn, at the end of the game, everyone ends up in the box. What do we want to do with our time here? So yes, it's simple, but it's not easy because it requires a day-to-day dedication. But if you do that, why not? Alright everyone, I see so many hands. What can we do? Time is moving on. We have some more days coming up, so happy to be with you. So thank you so much. Apologies if some of my speech was a little bit straight. I'm a London boy, what can I do? But hopefully some points there for you to think about, for you to take away. Please don't just come and listen. Please come, listen, reflect, and try to apply. You have the great opportunity to make your life successful by Krishna's grace. Let us all do that together. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, everyone. I really thank Maharaj from the bottom of my heart for kindly agreeing to come here and address all of us. And I thank every one of you who've made some time to come here today, despite being a weekday. And this is the biggest turnout we have ever had on a weekday night at here. So thank you so much to all of you who have come here with your children, and also to all the volunteers. Despite a busy day, we've all come here. We've cooked prasadam for all